Welcome to Eurovision Kiki. We're three Americans who have fallen in love with Eurovision. I'm Doug.
I'm Steven.
I'm Katie, and here on Eurovision Kiki, we're bringing you the best information about the Eurovision Song Contest.
We'll bring you the music, history, traditions,
And all the tea currently surrounding the world of Eurovision.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and joining us for another Eurovision Kiki. We are here to talk to you today, and hopefully everybody's excited. Steven, though, we're missing somebody.
We are. Not here, but last I checked, she is currently just gallivanting around Japan with her
As
husband
one
Casey,
does.
because that's what you do when you're on a honeymoon. But we have a very, very special guest with us. Many folks may know him and follow him on various social media platforms. You can follow him most prominently on Instagram and TikTok at WorldviShawn. We have with us Sean. Welcome to the Eurovision
Yay!
Kiki.
Hello, I'm so pumped. So
How
pumped.
are you? Yes, thank you for joining us. It's so great to officially meet you and just have you here with us today.
Right back at you. I'm pumped to talk about all things Eurovision.
So Steven and I have followed you for a while on the socials. How did you get into all this? Where did it all begin?
Well, so I guess that's like two parts. Do you want to know like how I got into Eurovision or how I got into like doing social media Eurovision stuff, I guess?
Let's start with part one. Let's
Okay.
examine Sean and his discovery and deep dive into his love of Eurovision.
My love of Eurovision. Okay, so I lost my Eurovision virginity in 2009. My mom, well, basically like I've been fascinated by different cultures, music, maps. I've been kind of like weird about that ever since I was very, very young. And ever since I was super young, I've always had like the dream to go to Iceland. So in 2009, my mom finally, she actually surprised me, took me to the airport. I had no idea where I was going or anything like that. And she surprised me and said, "We're going to Iceland." I was obviously over the moon. And then this was early days of YouTube, early days. But I got out my computer in the airport before going on the plane, and I searched Iceland on YouTube, and then I came across the Icelandic national final performance for Eurovision that year, which was Johanna, Is It True? Amazing song, came in second that year. And I genuinely, like, I know I should make this short and concise. I'm going to try and do this as best. I was just transfixed. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. She was absolutely stunning. She sang with the most pitch perfect voice. And so from there, I kind of did a little bit more research. I was like, what's this Eurovision thing? And it kind of, snowballed. And by 2011, I was like fully converted. The funny thing with that too, side note a little bit, is like I was so invested. I was also so young. I was like 11 or 12 or something like that. I was so invested. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was literally stalking this Icelandic performer back in 2009 because I added her on Facebook. I would message her incessantly, like, how was rehearsals going? Do you think you're going to do well at Eurovision? All of these things. And I messaged her for like years later. She is such a nice person. But yeah, she really helped basically also build my love for Eurovision too, just by being such a great, kind, performer and whatever. But yeah, that's my love for Eurovision story. And yeah, we've been going strong ever since.
It sounds like love for Iceland is kind of a common thread in this room. I love Hera, and so kind of did the same thing. Like, you're amazing. We love you. You want to come on our show? So it's something about Iceland, right? They're fantastic.
They're
Truly.
great. They're a great country. They're a great bunch. I can agree. So fast forward to now, you have since really skyrocketed and have built a very strong social media presence with just content constantly surrounded around all things Eurovision. You're honestly one of the ones that I go to for sources of information as soon as something hits the fan. Then I'm like, okay, Sean knows something. What's going on? How did that sort of begin building out, and how did you sort of begin finding yourself dabbling into content creation that is solely around all things Eurovision?
Yeah. So, um, My first job that I ever got was with a company that started as an online newspaper, but with COVID, they just decided like we're gonna go completely rogue and just do social media and see what happens with that. So I suggested TikTok. So from there, I kind of like learn more about the app and like the ins and outs of social media and stuff like that. And then, when COVID was like really full force and I had absolutely no life, my partner is American, I'm Canadian. We could not, even spend any time together. You can't see friends. Everyone was in their bubbles. I was like, what am I going to do to pass time? And so it started there. Basically, TikTok was more, in its infancy, I guess. And, I was learning about the app and I decided what's the thing I love to talk about most, and it was Eurovision. And also just as a Canadian, and you probably could, empathize with this, like as Americans, not many people really know what Eurovision is, or if you talk about Eurovision, they're like, oh yeah, that Will Ferrell movie. And it's like, oh
Yes.
my God, no, 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 no. And so I have no one to talk to about this contest in Canada. So I was like, it's so pathetic, but the reality of the situation is I need to make some friends who know what I'm talking about, who are speaking the same language as me. So that's really how it started. I really wanted to just genuinely connect with people who had the same interests as me. And then from there, um, yeah, I've just been doing it ever since and I really love it. So yeah, that's the story with that.
Yeah, right there with you. It's really, we find ourselves on a pretty regular basis, especially here in the US. It's always kind of more of an educational type of opportunity. It's only been within the last few years, I would say, that the hype has started to pick up. One of our streaming services that's pretty nationwide has started um, launching it or streaming it on annual basis now. So people know that we have access to it, but they may not necessarily understand what Eurovision is unless they hear or see the Will Ferrell movie. And
Hmm.
then we kind of have to we go into our little elevator pitch of like, well, yeah, that's one way to perceive the Eurovision Song Contest, but there's so much more to it, and let me explain. So that's great that you kind of also share the same experience in Canada as well.
Yeah, for sure.
You get it. You understand having to explain to everybody. So have you been to a Eurovision?
The first time I went was Liverpool, 2023. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was genuinely like I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, that was the most magical 8 days of my life, like honestly. Um, and so, yeah, it was incredible. I mean, just to see, her win a second time, the first woman to ever do it. And I love her. I love her voice. I think she's so talented. Sweden winning, for like the seventh time wasn't anything that was on my like bucket list, but I was still just so enamored with the whole experience. And it was, I think, one of the stronger years too. So because that experience was so strong, I committed to going every single year, except when 2024 came around with all the drama and stuff like that. I just had a gut feeling around January, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to just skip this year. So I did skip last year, but I plan to continue going forever until the day I die, hopefully.
Amazing.
What about you guys? Like, have you guys gone to the contest?
Oh yeah.
We did. And the year you skipped
We
is the year
the
we
year
went.
you skipped is the year that we went. So
Oh,
we went to Sweden this year, and experienced it all.
We
So
got all the drama, all the
if you have
tension.
if you have questions, you just let us know. But it's actually so ironically, the first year that I wanted to go was actually 2023. When we were watching the 2022 song contest, some of us that were home watching it, we were kind of like, okay, whoever wins, let's make a pact. We're gonna go. Then Ukraine wins, and we're like, oh, I don't know if that's actually going to be a thing. Like, let's see how all of this like pans out. And then timing wise, it just wasn't in the cards for us to make 2023 happen. So during the 2023 watch party at our house, we then kind of recommitted, and we were like, okay, no matter what happens, 2024, let's make it happen. So Sweden did happen. We committed, and like the project manager in me just went into project management mode, and we implemented that flawlessly, knowing that there was still going to be a lot of just tension and awkwardness and uncertainty going into it. We still committed to it. And honestly, like, it was still a great trip. Like, we had a lot of fun and we made the most of it. And there were a lot of just like takeaways and lessons learned from the experience. And now we're trying to figure out, how are we going to make Switzerland happen?
How can anyone afford Switzerland?
How can anybody afford Switzerland right now? Like, do I need to cash in some, like, do I need to find a sugar daddy that my husband will be okay with? Do I need to start selling like pictures of my feet? Yeah, like, I don't know. But we're gonna try to figure it out. We're gonna try to make it happen. So
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah. I mean, at the one golden thing to come out of the Switzerland thing is at least it isn't Basel, whatever, because I have heard that it's a cheaper-ish city in Switzerland, so that's kind of okay, but yeah.
We're gonna put that in quotes.
That's like, we're gonna use that term loosely. And my husband is, he is, what's the best way that I can put this? He is very, he's conservative when it comes to, like, traveling in some instances. And so, we've booked some hotels that are like, an hour train ride that saves some money. So, we might not necessarily be in the heart of things. We might be doing a little bit of like commuting back and forth throughout the days.
A little day trip,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sorry, well, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was like, I'll share, like, we actually, so for our trip to Sweden, we didn't stay in Malmö. We actually stayed in Denmark, and we commuted back and forth via the train because it was a 45-minute train ride. They had a great like ticket special that entire week. They were like $60 10-day round trip ticket that you could use the entire time.
Whoa,
yeah, it was easy. It was within, the train station was in walking distance from the hotel that we were at, and it dropped you off right there at the arena. So it worked itself out pretty well.
And then those two cities are how amazing Europe public transportation is.
There's also that. So
yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll see each other if we all like get this managed and find ourselves in Basel for Switzerland, and you can help me celebrate 41.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, 100%. Yeah, I'm down for sure.
Your birthday is basically Eurovision, so
it's true.
Is it 17? What is it this?
It's well, so it'll be the week after my actual birthday, but with traveling and everything, let's just throw it all in there.
It's a celebration no matter what. 100%.
It is. Why not? So, well, so as we are looking at we're just a couple weeks into the start of the 2025 Eurovision season. Like, what are you most excited about now that we're starting to rev up and get announcements and confirmations of countries that are coming in? We at least have, at the time of this recording, there's at least one artist from Cyprus that has confirmed he is the chosen one.
Yeah. What am I most excited about? I feel like it's so early that I can't really think of anything where it's like, oh, I know this is definitely going to happen, but I'm excited about, I'm going to manifest right now. I'm excited about Celine Dion performing at Eurovision. I'm a Canadian. We'll put it out in the universe.
Let's do it.
I grew up with her in my car every single day on the way to school. She is my second mother, basically. She's the father that I never had, I always say. Getting a little dark, but genuinely. So I love that woman with all of my heart. And so, I mean, she sang at the Olympics, and she literally got her, like, start, I really feel like, at Eurovision. So I feel like it has to happen. I also feel like right now she's taking, like, she's excited to get back into like music, now that she's a little bit healthier. So that is something that I'm really hoping to see happen. In terms of anything else that's like on my radar, like, I also do some songwriting too. So I'm excited about hopefully having a song in the national final at the very least, and hopefully getting my first song in Eurovision. That would be something that would be really cool. Also wanting to manifest that. But yeah, I'd say ultimately I do have strong faith that there'll be like some sort of, homage to Celine Dion in some way, shape, or form. So I'm excited to see what that will look like. And I also think it's just very exciting to see a country that hasn't hosted Eurovision in so long host. So it'll be cool to see what Switzerland puts on. Like no one knows what this is going to really be like. It's not like Sweden or Italy. So yeah.
Well, and I feel like I just saw something that they increased the budget for Basel.
Love to hear that.
So let's throw some more money at it.
Give
Thank
us a
you.
show. Yes.
Do what you got to do to cut a check to Celine. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, and because we've seen part of your journey, or at least you've been sharing lately that you've been dabbling in songwriting. And that is actually a question that Doug and I had for you. How did you get started, not only with just songwriting, but then also expanding that out a little bit further and getting it connected to songwriting for Eurovision? How did that all begin?
Yeah, so I've been singing like ever since I came out of the womb. Like I've been singing since I was very young. I used to do performing and I used to sing a lot, but I do have a little bit of stage fright. So now I like writing songs, singing demos, and then sending them off to artists. Um, I got started in like 2018. I just was like, I went to a summer program at Berklee School of Music in the US in Boston. And that was very inspiring and I learned a lot. And so from there, I kind of just started songwriting. And then in 2018 is when I started reaching out to a producer that I always admired his work. His name is Jonas Gladnikoff. And we kind of just like I sent him a song that actually just got released I think yesterday for the first time. I wrote the song in 2018 and then we kind of submitted it to Iceland and Croatia and this and that and never got picked up. So I was just like, screw it, let's have the Czech artist who submitted it to the Czech Republic last year actually, publish it. So she actually posted that yesterday. So yeah, I sent him that song. He liked that song, and that's the first song that we ever worked on. It was called Merry Go Round. And ever since then, I guess, yeah, 2018 to now, we've been just working on songs ever since. We've had a couple of songs in different national finals in Slovenia, Romania, Moldova, and hopefully we'll have some more, to come, I guess. But yeah, we're working like really hard. I'd say this year is like songs where like I feel for the first time I'm like this could be it, and I've never really felt that. So I'm praying to God, the Eurovision gods, that something might come from it.
Right, we're manifesting that
I
too.
was gonna say,
So
Yeah.
Sean, I want to manifest that for you. I want to see you on the couch with that artist one day in the green
Thank you.
room and holding on to that trophy as well. So I'm gonna be rooting for you hardcore.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
so
So welcome.
a follow-up question about that. Are these songs in English? Are they multilingual?
They've, for the most part, been in English. The Czech song that we submitted last year was mostly in English. We had a little bit of Czech lyrics in there too. This year we're planning to submit to Montenegro, and Montenegro does have a rule in their national selection that says 51% of the lyrics have to be in Montenegrin. So we're gonna have to figure out that soon because that national selection's happening quite shortly, and like we need someone to either translate or do the lyrics in that language. But
You mean
typically,
you're not fluent?
I'm shockingly, I'm not.
Well, they don't teach you that in Canada? Like that's not
No.
a language taught in is like a
Listen,
national language?
they tried to teach me French. That's we're a bilingual country, and I know bonjour, and that's pretty much it. So I'm a horrible Canadian. Um, so yeah, I think that'll be a really interesting, like, it will be an interesting process to see how that, shapes out.
Thoughts on Vladana and her song
Thank you
Breathe?
for bringing that up.
Underrated. I was like, we're going on a tangent here for just a quick second.
Please, please.
She was so robbed in 2022. Like, girl, what?
I think she was robbed. I mean, she could sing. Like, I did not expect her to be like that good. The lyrics, I really like the message of the song, like when she explained it and stuff like that. But the lyrics to me were a little interesting. But I think it was a beautiful melody. It felt Balkan, like a nice Balkan ballad. It was just great. Yeah, I really like that one.
She should have been at the finals. That's just my personal opinion, but I'm excited though that she is going to have a part in Monte and is going to
Oh,
have some
really?
type of, yeah, I saw in the news that she's going to have some involvement in the national song contest. So
Okay,
She
I like
was the
that.
last time that they participated, right? So then
yeah,
it's nice to have that.
I know,
Yeah.
like she was the last one to represent Montenegro, and then they just kind of disappeared for the last 2 years. It's like, did she do something bad? I don't know.
Well, I feel like they never get respected. There's certain countries in the competition where I'm like, they had some really good. I mean, that was a great one. Even Knez, I know he was like one of two of their entries that went on to the final, but like I think he didn't crack the top 10, and I think that was a really solid entry. So yeah, they're one of the less respected countries, I feel like, in the contest.
Well, and speaking of which, are there any
Speaking.
countries like in 20 like let's just talk about like countries that have constantly been robbed in like previous years that you think maybe this is the year that they're finally gonna like shine. Are there any this year that you're like it's still
Who's been
too it
robbed the
may
most, and
yeah,
why is it Malta?
Th-
it
th- Ugh, thank you. Took the words out of my mouth. Um, This country, I mean, I will say, I don't think, like, the juries have never been so mean to Malta. It's really us. We are robbing them. And when people say, get rid of the juries, abandon the juries, Kadia should have won, all of these things, I'm sure, like, yeah, like, I think the juries sometimes make mistakes here and there and stuff like that or whatever. But Malta coming dead last in the semifinal last year with the vocals that she improved on exponentially, the choreo, which was, dare I say, I really think maybe the best choreo of the year. I can't think of anything else that was stronger. Was there anything stronger? I'm trying to think.
mm, like in that particular semifinal, I mean, I will say Austria because I
Oh,
mean,
true. No, no, no. Yeah. I think they were neck to neck though. Like I think they were both so solidly strong. And she just flops. Same with Destiny. I mean, Destiny, what, she came 13th in the televote with the Jumma cast. Like, that to me is an absolute joke. It's a joke. So yeah, I could go on and on. Malta, I think, is extremely robbed. I think now that we do have this system where we don't have juries in the semifinals, it's impacting smaller countries that don't have diasporas, that have small populations, that may be island nations, the Icelands, the Maltas, the San Marinos or whatever. Although San Marino, I can't really, say that any of their entries have been particularly strong over the last couple of years. But,
Well,
I digress. Like the point is like we need the juries back in my view, because I think it's gonna be really, really hard for these smaller countries to advance. It'll
well,
be
and it comes
yeah.
down to the luck of the draw, right? Like, if your buddies are in your semifinal with you, that makes your job even easier.
Yeah, totally. Totally, totally. I mean, the Friends thing is huge. This like block voting type of stuff. I mean, yes, there's the singing and there's a culture, but to me, I'm also like, I love the politics of it all. Like, we know Greece and Cyprus are in bed with each other. We know Nordic country. Like, that's to me so
oh no, they
fascinating.
totally, they
12
to-
points from
yeah.
Greece goes to Cyprus. Groundbreaking.
But what was
Oh,
groundbreaking a couple years ago was like when like Greece or Cyprus, I forget, one of them gave like only 8 points to the other country, and it was like, whoa, that's actually quite nuts. So
they were like, there is one of those "how dare you"
yeah,
moments that just really,
literally.
like, really, really rattled and ruffled some feathers there.
Yeah.
So we know Malta needs some love and whatnot. What about Iceland? How do we feel about Iceland these last couple of years? Because I really enjoyed Power
Me
from
too.
what was 2023.
Mhm.
I liked it.
Yeah, I remember you and I like hardcore were texting each other hashtag justice for Iceland.
Yeah. I mean, Iceland, I definitely feel like is in the same bucket. Power was really, really strong. Um, I mean, I'm Hera Bjork can do no wrong. I know people didn't necessarily love the entry and stuff like that, but I actually thought it elevated. She literally did elevate on stage. I thought it was good. So yeah, if it was up to me, that probably would have also advanced as well. Like I think Iceland is underappreciated. I think, I mean,
Oh
it's hard.
girl,
Oh yeah, no, let's
no
go.
girl, like listen to our last week's episode because Hera was here and she like without like spilling the tea, like she gave us some good shit. Like she was like she's like, let's be
There's a
honest
little bit
here.
of in-country
Yeah,
drama,
there's a
you
little bit of
know.
drama going on there. She's like, I was not there. She's like, the people wanted the politics and I was not giving them the politics. And so going in to Eurovision, I knew I was coming in last. Like, and I was okay with it. but I was just like,
Yeah.
Hera.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that whole situation, like, I thought actually it was, let's be real, it was a weak song that kept in. Like, I don't think it was a particularly strong year for the national final, in my view, I guess. I think the Go Tiffany song was good. I think Hera's song was good, but aside from that, I don't think there was much else. And yeah, I think the politics, probably domestically affected like people's interest in their participation at Eurovision, but. Yeah. Trying to think if there's
Well,
anything. Oh, yeah.
our audience is like, I'm not from Iceland, but as a voting member of an audience, do you see what's happening in another country and that affects your take on it? I mean, we saw a little bit of that with Poland and Blanca. So
Mm.
is this something that people see what's happening in other countries and that's affecting?
Well, the funny thing with Poland is I feel like Blanca exceeded expectations dramatically because people like she was like I mean, the fandom I think was like cruel. Like I think she was like the butt of a lot of jokes and stuff like that. And she, advanced to the final and she didn't do that bad. The funny thing with Poland is they actually seem to have this happen to them quite a bit. A lot of people wanted Jan or John to win. And then she won and she actually exceeded expectations. The same thing happened with Michał Spock from Poland a couple of years back. I think it was like 2016 with The Color of Your Life. Like people hated him because they really wanted this other woman who had a great song called Cool Me Down to win. And Michał Spock came like third, I think, in the televote. J.K. Rowling was tweeting about him. So, I think Poland has this interesting thing happen to them quite often. But I feel like overall, I would say like people like Eurovision fans watching what's happening in other countries, like for example, like us watching what happened in Iceland and the drama and all that stuff, I feel like it doesn't necessarily overall impact the voting because I think we're very much in it. We're like in the bubble.
Yes.
But I feel the vast majority, like there's like 200 million people that watch it. The vast majority of people are not like us. They're normal people. We're abnormal. And so I think most of them don't even know what happened in Iceland and the drama that took place in Songvakeppnin, which they wouldn't even know how to pronounce. So I think that's an us issue of being nerdy.
Yeah, no. When I try to explain shit to like friends or family that do not follow Eurovision, they're just kind of like, "And this impacts me how?" It just does.
It's life or
Like,
death.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's our Super Bowl. Calm down.
yeah.
Yeah, truly.
So, well, speaking of Poland, let's talk about how like JoJo Siwa is having conversations with people that she's not really having conversations with because
Yeah.
even like Poland television broadcasting is like we're not talking to her. Sean, thoughts on JoJo Siwa wanting to represent Poland for Eurovision? Go.
I have no ill will towards this woman whatsoever. Once again, similar with the Blanca thing, I know a lot of people have like strong feelings about some characters or whatever. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like her. I have nothing against her. I don't know anything about her. But I don't want some girl who was not born in the country, who's worth tens of millions of dollars, who already has a career carved out for them for the rest of their lives to represent said country. Like that's not interesting to me. I love the thing that I love about Eurovision is it can take a Celine Dion and make them a Celine Dion. It can take a Måneskin. It will make them a Måneskin. A Duncan Lawrence. A Duncan Lawrence. So Jojo Siwa is a Jojo Siwa. It's the same thing with Cascada representing Germany or Bonnie Tyler for the UK. It's sometimes exciting. It can be cool every now and then. But I feel like with JoJo Siwa, like she is just so big, she really is, that I just don't love it. And I love Eurovision, even though I know I'm being biased right now because I just mentioned Celine Dion as an example, and I know she's not born in Switzerland or whatever, but for me, JoJo Siwa is not born in Poland. It makes it like less authentic, I guess. So yeah.
I agree with you. I think for me, it's the fact of she's not using it as a platform to become an artist because she already is one, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think that JoJo's delivery or just her reasoning behind wanting to do it is for all the wrong reasons. Like, first of all, I've never heard her bring it up in any of her past social media or anything like that. It's just like one day she's like, I'm going to represent Poland for Eurovision. Then goes on this tangent of like, I've been having conversations with the people that run Eurovision, and we're trying to get dates locked in, because right now the dates that Eurovision's happening don't align with my dates, but we'll work something out. It's like, no, girl, like these dates are locked in. They don't work around you. You
Oh,
work
I didn't even
around
hear.
them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then like Poland coming back and being like, we've never been in talks with her. We have no idea what she's talking about. I'm just like, I feel like she's doing a lot of this for the clout and for all of the wrong reasons. And very similar to you, Sean. Like, I have no ill will towards JoJo Siwa. I also feel like our fan base is super low right now, that nobody's ever going to pick this up, so it's fine. But it's just one of those things that I'm like, I just feel like she's doing this for all the wrong reasons. And to what you're saying, like it's not going to get her any more, rise to artistry or fame or things like that. And they don't really need it in their career. And maybe in a couple of years, if she's actually truly serious about it and puts in the work and shows others that she's actually invested in something like this, maybe I would take her a little bit more seriously. But for now, like, no, like, let's leave it to those who are a little bit more invested and dedicated into the Eurovision bubble, as we've put it in this.
I feel like if she was a fan beforehand and like made YouTube videos about reactions to Eurovision and was like deeply in it, then I'd be like, okay, you know what? She's one of us. So like that's a little bit more acceptable. But it's almost like she had her first single out. It didn't do as well as I think it's one of those things people made fun of it or whatever, which I think it's not that bad of a song. But and now she has her second single. I think this is her second single where it has like those like ethnic flares to it, I guess. And then she probably
Question mark?
question mark, and then she was like, oh, Eurovision, which is like, so I don't know, I don't like love that train of thought to lead her to like, I guess,
Yeah.
the contest, but yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like we've seen these artists who Eurovision has been their dream. I mean, you got Clean, and she wanted to represent Austria, and she's been wanting this for years and years and
Yes.
years. That's the story I want to see.
Yeah, 100%. Like that, I have even honestly, like there's been artists like that at Eurovision before, where like I'm gonna just ignore the fact that your song sucks. Like you're a hardcore Eurovision fan. I'm rooting for you. Like you need to go to the final because like that is so beautiful. Because there's a lot of people that take part in the contest, as we know, who are like they don't really know even what Eurovision is too well until they're like doing the press and all that stuff, and they get to know it better. But like, yeah, I love the fans. I love the fans of the contest taking part.
well, Sean, I'm hopeful that once things begin to hype up and 2025 is more often running, would you want to come back? Maybe when we get some artists like locked in, maybe once we get some songs added to the playlist, maybe come back, play a little segment of Bop or Flop, give us some thoughts on what you think is gonna move forward, what we think is gonna tank, what we think is gonna present well, or anything like that.
I would love to. I'm always down to talk Eurovision. And I'm excited to like learn more about like what your tastes are and stuff like that. What did you guys like last year? Like who were some of your faves?
Go first, because it's
For
going to take me
me,
a while to put mine together.
Poland, so
Luna.
Tower, Loop, We Will Rave. I loved Australia so much. I can't properly articulate my love for the song other than it was just a vibe that I could just groove out to. So those were some of my tops.
Love.
Baby Lasagna. I want to marry that man, even though I know he does not want to marry me. Always and forever.
And that your
My
husband doesn't want you marrying him.
I mean, he would watch. I think he would. Slash, I know he would. I loved that Luxembourg came back, and for Tali to come back with Fighter, I was like, you know what? I'm here for it, girl. Like, was it the strongest out of everything that was like presented this year? No, but I appreciated it for like making the comeback that it did. Nebulosa, I was so upset that it did not perform as well as it should have, but I loved Zora this year. And then obviously Kayleen with We Will Rave. Those were some of my top favorites. And then I would say lastly, because I just love camp and I just love like what we call like that's so Eurovision. Windows 95, man, no rules.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah. I love all
do-
those.
Yeah.
I need
Like-
to make a quick shout out here. I forgot to mention Armenia. I loved Armenia, and I'm so
Oh,
grateful that they made it into the top 10. So
yes.
Yeah, that I did not. That was to me the biggest shock of the year. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, but I should have because I think it's like similar-ish to the Moldova of 2022 or whatever, and they did so well in the televote. But I just didn't think. I don't know. So yeah, those are I love those. I mean, I will say I love all of those minus I had something that I could not do Spain. I don't know why, and it
Interesting.
got me into so much trouble. Like I think that video that I made probably is the most like disliked, hated video I've ever done. So many comments like telling me to die.
Oh my
But I just
God.
yeah,
people
but
are
Well,
coming
thank
for you.
yeah, like
they
well,
really
thank
people feel
yeah.
strongly about that one. So you're definitely not alone.
I mean, well, thankfully for like here at the Eurovision Kiki podcast, this is a safe space. So like, no, that's the greatest part about all of this is that we can agree to disagree on all of these things, and that's totally fine. It was not everybody's cup of tea in our group that went to the show, but same to like with Doug, his love for Armenia. I'm like, girl, why? Like, I don't get it. And then I mean, collectively too, like we were all like hashtag justice for youth after all of that debacle as well, because
Mm,
like we all loved Europapa, so that was another one that we were like, yes, and then that shit hit the fan, and we were really sad about it.
yeah, that was a this Eurovision was just like one thing after another. Like it really when that happened on like the Friday or whatever, I actually was like I had a moment where I had like depersonalization. Like I literally thought I was outside of my body, not existing in the real world. It was so odd, but that
Oh,
one I love the studio cut, but that live semi-final 2 performance
oh,
was
It's a little
some of
rough.
the worst. I think he would have. I don't know what would have happened, but I really think he would have deserved to do like bottom 10 in the final for jury. For jury.
really?
For jury. Sorry, I should clarify for jury
Oh,
because those
Oh, for
vocals were
sure.
just not it.
I will tell. So being there, the crowd loved it. Like
I was gonna
they
say the crowd
ate
was
it.
so loud.
Yeah,
Who cares what the song
yeah,
was?
who cares
Yeah.
about like they ate it
Yeah.
up. I even like turned to like Doug and everybody. There was 9 of us that went in total. And I just
So
like
fun.
I turned to tell everybody. I was like, and maybe I'm just an awful like judge of character. I don't know, but I was just like, oh, top five. When this is all said and done, he's gonna finish top 5. Uh,
Wow.
and now we'll
Cut
never
two,
know. Cut,
disqualified.
yeah, cut to a just DQ and then all of that
Yeah.
shit. But anyway, I don't know. So
So
yeah.
for Sean, for you, what are some of your other top ones from this year?
Top ones from this year. Oh my God, my memory is actually horrendous, and I had to turn my phone off because I didn't want to like disturb the whatever. So I can't remember. I can't even remember. Okay, no, you know what? Okay, it's coming back to me. I really liked um the moment I heard Switzerland, I really was like, this is just perfectly concocted for Eurovision. Like it's like someone actually took the most perfect ingredients for a Eurovision song. You have such a talented performer. It's a mix and fusion of so many different impressive genres, like rap and then opera and then whatever. Like it's just the jury's gonna eat it up. The televote is gonna do well. So that one I really liked, just from like a Eurovision fan perspective. It wasn't my favorite. My favorite was France. Um, I just thought like the voice was so exceptional. The song was so beautiful. The staging was nice too. So those were my top 2. Um, yeah, those are my
I can
top
get
2.
behind that.
So I do have to ask your take on Greece.
I
Sorry.
We have some thoughts here at the Kiki, so I want to I don't want to like influence you.
um okay, yeah, I'm curious to know. Yeah, people have very strong opinions about this. The first 10 seconds of that song, I was like, "Oh, they're going to win." Like they are going to win. Like I just thought it was so cool. I was so hooked from that first like I was like, "Oh, like girl." And then after that 10 seconds, like when your course is literally da 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 da, like I
Mhm.
lose all interest. I don't like it. The staging I think was kind of it was almost it was interesting because I think the staging was so like visually arresting, but at the same time too, it like didn't really present the culture much, or I feel like that it didn't really add much, I think, to like the sonic quality of the song. Um, the dance thing was kind of cool, the handkerchief thing, but like the LED was just like it was more just like I felt like I was like on drugs than I felt like I was immersed in like the whole song in full. So those are my thoughts. Not the biggest fan. Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean,
I
you
echo
liked
everything you said.
you liked 10 seconds more of it than I did because I didn't like any of it. So there's that.
Oh my God, you're gonna get eaten alive because the Greek fans are hardcore fans too. So
Oh,
The
again,
youth love it. The
the
youth love
the
it.
the
oh
youth
yeah,
love
like
it.
Doug's nephew, he's all about it, and I don't
He's
Really?
understand
all
it.
about it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. No.
So,
Would that be your like least favorite songs this year? Would you say?
No,
oh no,
no,
Norway
no.
takes the cake on that one.
Yeah,
Really, for both of you?
it's a tie between Norway and Moldova
Oh my
for
God, I
me.
thought there was taste in this conference call.
Oh,
um, yeah, no, for me,
well,
like
okay.
it
So
would have
let
been
me.
nice to see. It would have been nice if Kano came back because I would have
That's.
loved
I think
Dom
that's my
Diggity.
biggest hang up. Is I just love Kano so much.
Oh, yeah, like Dumb to Get honestly, Dumb to Get I think it's not that bad either. Like I think it could have gone on and probably done better, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I can't get past it because I'm like, how did 3 minutes of Viking calls and battle cries beat Dom Diggy Dog? I don't get it. And then also, as I've told, like I've said this before on the podcast before, but like Moldova for me, like in 2023, we were going from like a sex cult that I was like all about joining as long as I didn't have to do stuff with women, to this, and it just didn't. I didn't understand, and I also thought it was like really shitty that she like kicked her 5 girls out. She's like, I can do this by myself, and it's just like, girl, no, you can't.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things like that I could say about her. But her it just wasn't it just fell flat. It just wasn't that good of a song at the end of the day. And the staging, I will say those LEDs were beautiful, like stunning. But it's a song contest at the end of the day. Like it wasn't anything impressive. And I think her staging in the national final with those girls like made it so sleek, so cool, and really elevated the song. So her
Yep.
getting rid of that was just not a good decision. But the Norway I'm hung up on the Norway thing. I love that song. But I'm waiting for Kino to come back with a monument-esque song because I think that's the pinnacle. That's like peak Eurovision to me. Like I think that is my favorite song in the Eurovision sphere of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm just with Monument, like that they didn't, right? That they didn't take it to the Eurovision stage, and it's just once
Yeah,
I discovered them, like that's basically all I've listened to these last like 3-4 months.
they're seriously their whole discography is like it's just Grammy. Give them Grammys. They're so good.
I
But
know.
yeah, I'll never forgive Norway for Fallen Angel over Monument. Like
Oh, Steven, tell us about your love for Fallen
no,
Angel.
I love Ticks. I love that song.
Steven.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Um, Maybe it's just because I just have like a soft spot for him. I think he's just I just find him kind of cute, and I want to do things with him. But I also like the song.
little
Oh,
baby.
but I also like the song.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, a little baby lasagna ticks and Steven menage a
yeah.
trois.
There's,
Um,
I mean, I do not discriminate. I love men, all sorts of shapes and sizes, but like them in particular, they're also very adorable. So, and
I love
that's
that.
yeah. So,
It's fair.
well, Sean, I have truly enjoyed having you here to Kiki with us. Let the listeners know before we sign off, like where can we find you? Like, where can they find you on the social medias?
On the social medias, I'm at WorldviShawn, I think on everything. I think. So yeah, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, but like meh, like meh.
Meh. Yeah.
We don't love Twitter. So yeah, that's my handle.
Awesome. And we will be sure to include those in the descriptions when we post. So thank you again. And I seriously do hope we can get you back in here once 2025 Eurovision season's in a little bit more of a full swing, because I just love your energy and I love everything about you. So I think,
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
Thank
No,
you.
thank you. Oh my God, I love, as I said at the very beginning, I love talking about Eurovision. So yeah, and this, I'm excited to delve into this podcast and to hear the episodes and all that stuff. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys inviting me.
That's awesome. And that will wrap things up for us. As always, to our listeners, thanks again. Details will be in the descriptions. You can always find and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Eurovision Kiki. If you've got questions, feel free to email those at eurovisionkiki@gmail.com. Thank you all once again. And as always, we'll see you all at our next Kiki.